Enter the shadows of medieval Europe. Witness the horrors of the Black Plague. What would drive entire families to abandon their homes in sheer terror? How did a microscopic killer alter the face of Europe forever? In the eerie silence of desolate streets, where once laughter echoed around bustling markets, an invisible enemy lurked, merciless and unrelenting. Picture the 14th century, where superstition ruled and ignorance fed fear. The Black Plague, responsible for the deaths of 25 million souls, transformed Europe into a necropolis of despair and decay. Join our immersive walking tour that invites only the bravest to tread upon the haunted cobblestones where the Grim Reaper once danced. Step back into a world ravaged by a pestilence that knew no mercy. As you navigate through these haunted remnants of the past, uncover tales of flagellants who sought redemption through self-mutilation, towns that witnessed mass hysteria, and the chilling reality of plague pits where the dead were discarded like refuse. Can you handle the gruesome tales of barbers who served as the era's surgeons, wielding their primitive tools amid screams of agony? Dare to listen to the whispered legends of spectral vigilantes who battled against the unseen enemy. This is not just a tour, it's a portal into the darkest chapters of history. Every step you take, every shadow you see, beckons you to delve deeper. For those who crave the unsettling and the macabre, this experience promises a plunge into the dreadful world the Black Death left behind. Are you prepared to face the horrors that history tried to bury? Join us if you dare, as we unveil the nightmarish truths of the Black Plague. Remember, this journey is not for the faint of heart, but for those with an insatiable thirst for dark history and unrivaled thrills. In the heart of Strasbourg, France, during the balmy summer of 1518, a bizarre and haunting spectacle unfolded. Townsfolk were gripped by a mysterious ailment, compelling them to dance uncontrollably. This phenomenon, known to history as the Dancing Plague or St. Vitus Dance, remains one of the most perplexing events of the medieval era. The story begins with Frau Trophea, who abruptly began dancing fervently in the streets of Strasbourg. Her movements were frenzied and unstoppable, drawing onlookers who were at first bewildered. Within a week, the solitary dancer was joined by over 100 others, all equally spellbound by the same uncontrollable urge. Authorities and physicians of the time were confounded. Their solution was as unusual as the plague itself. They enlisted musicians, hoping to somehow play the plague away. But instead of curing the dancers, the music seemed to exacerbate the frenzy. The afflicted continued to dance, many to the point of exhaustion, sustaining injuries like broken bones, and in some tragic cases, succumbing to heart attacks or strokes. Why did the residents of Strasbourg fall under the spell of this dance? Theories range from mass hysteria, spurred by the harrowing conditions of the time, to ergot poisoning, a hallucinogenic mold found in damp rye which could induce intense visions and convulsions. Some even attributed it to a form of divine retribution or demonic possession, reflecting the superstitious tenor of the era. For dark tourism enthusiasts, there is an eerie allure in retracing the steps of those fevered dancers. Strasbourg's cobblestone streets become a canvas on which history etched its most enigmatic performance. Museums and historical sites guide visitors through chilling narratives and macabre artifacts that narrate a tale of community, despair, and inexplicable human phenomena. Curious about other bizarre historical maladies? Stay tuned as we delve into another spine-chilling episode in the next segment. The eerie tale of a plague that made its victims dance is just the beginning. The Black Plague, which swept through Europe in the 14th century, wrought unparalleled horror and despair. Amidst this turmoil, the flagellant movement emerged as a particularly dark response. This harrowing group believed that self-inflicted pain could atone for humanity's sins and stem the tide of death. What drove thousands of men and women to wander from town to town, publicly whipping themselves? What impact did these macabre processions have on the spread of the plague and medieval society at large? The origins of the flagellant movement can be traced back to the 13th century, but it wasn't until the devastating years of the plague that their numbers swelled dramatically. Convinced that divine retribution for sin lay at the heart of the pestilence, flagellants embarked on arduous processions, often consisting of hundreds of devotees. These pilgrims, adorned in minimal clothing, would traverse the landscape, whipping themselves to bloodied states as a public display of penance. Twice daily, these painful rituals unfolded before large, captivated audiences. The flagellants' chants filled the air, blending hymns with the sounds of ritualistic self-mortification. Despite, or perhaps because of, their extreme practices, these processions drew significant crowds. These gatherings, however, were dangerous in their own right, as they became hotspots for the transmission of the very plague they sought to abate. The flagellants' fervent displays did not go unnoticed by the church. Initially tolerant, the papacy soon condemned the movement as their acts grew increasingly radical and uncontrollable. The crackdown that followed saw both ecclesiastical and secular authorities suppressing the movement, a testament to their perceived threat to societal order. For those fascinated by the most somber periods of human history, the flagellant movement offers not only a profound example of medieval piety amidst crisis, but also a stark reminder of how desperation can lead to radical measures. Journey back to a time where superstition reigned supreme and uncover the astonishing link between medieval cat persecution and one of history's deadliest events, the Black Plague. Throughout medieval Europe, cats, especially the enigmatic black ones, became scapegoats in a world grappling with unknown horrors. The Church, with its formidable influence, cast cats as sinister allies of witches and the devil. Sermons inflamed public paranoia, depicting felines as emissaries of evil. Driven by the Church's teachings, towns and villages embarked on gruesome campaigns to purge their communities of cats. One notable decree came from Pope Gregory IX in his 1233 papal bull Vox in Rama, which directly linked black cats to satanic rituals, fueling an already blazing fire of superstition-driven cruelty. As cats were decimated, a seemingly unrelated menace crept in. Rats and mice, natural prey of the beleaguered felines, began to flourish. These rodents carried fleas infected with Yersinia pestis, the bacterium responsible for the Black Plague. The tragic irony is palpable. By killing cats, medieval societies may have unwittingly magnified the catastrophic spread of the plague. Imagine medieval towns, their marketplaces and homes teeming with rodents. Visualize the sharp contrast between how cats were depicted, both vilified in art and banished from life, and the indispensable role they unknowingly played in pest control. Can you fathom how different history might have been had reason triumphed over superstition? Stay tuned to uncover more curious intricacies of this dark chapter. What other irrational fears and fatal decisions shaped the destiny of medieval Europe? The journey into the bleakness of history has just begun. During the 14th century, the Black Plague swept across Europe, claiming the lives of nearly a third of the continent's population. This devastating pandemic exposed the raw nerves of human society. Driven by an overwhelming blend of fear and ignorance, people turned to irrational and often harmful actions like scapegoating and witch hunts in a desperate search for answers. The psychological toll induced mass hysteria, altering collective behaviors and trust in societal structures. Yet, from these dark times emerged crucial lessons that reshaped civilization's approach to disease and crisis management. Critical thinking and scientific understanding emerged as the bedrock of progress, contrasting with the past, where misinformation and superstition wreaked havoc. Exploring the historical impact of the Black Plague is vital for avid travelers seeking a profound connection to the places they visit, as it enriches one's global perspective and appreciation for human resilience. Curious to delve deeper into the stories that shaped our world? Join us in our next Top Travel Destinations video as we uncover more tales of endurance and evolution. Discover how the echoes of our past reverberate through the landmarks of today, offering valuable insights and unforgettable experiences. The journey of understanding our history is just beginning. Stay tuned and let's explore together.